It is your feel-good breakfast show, and that's ultimately what we want to achieve. We want you to feel good, both mentally, spiritually, and of course, physically. From constantly feeling bloated and uneasy, IBS is problematic to the extreme and persistent digestive disorder that affects, I think, more of us than you may think. A lot of people don't even know that they're suffering through IBS, and whilst some use the loo and don't think twice about it, for others, it's a little more complicated and stressful. I know it's a difficult conversation, but we're going to get through it. We have to shed some more light on irritable bowel syndrome. And our pharmacist, our resident pharmacist now, national training and PR manager for Relief Pharmaceuticals, Sean Willard, is here to do it, buddy. And you've been looking forward to this one. This is the one that we...
It's a tough subject.
But it's good. I'm glad that we've been able to kind of just broach this as human beings, talk about stuff that so many people are being affected by.
And I'm not quite sure how many people have actually thought about this, because I've certainly thought about it of myself. Like, am I regular enough? Is my system, because it goes far beyond that basic question, because it's about, is my system functioning optimally, right?
Absolutely.
So then how does one determine whether you are indeed functioning optimally, i.e. are you regular enough?
Are you constipated, in other words? And I think it is a subject that people don't want to really speak about. I think in my years back in pharmacy, people would sort of kind of shimmy up to the dispensary and sort of whisper to me, because it's not a subject people want to broach. But constipation generally defined as if I have less than 3 bowel movements per week. I know a lot of the gastroenterologists like a sort of a 3x3 matrix or metric, where they say anything from 3 bowel movements a week up to 3 bowel movements a day. So it can be very varied amongst individuals. The bowel matrix. I like that.
Let's take it a level further, in fact, and talk about the consistency of the stool itself. What is there an ideal? What should people be kind of aiming for, if that's even something that we could do? What would you consider to be healthy?
Yeah, so consistency is probably as important, or form is as important as frequency. I don't know if there'll be a picture, but there's a Bristol stool form kind of schematic where they talk about, there we have it on the screen right now. So where it's type 1,
on this show.
Type 1, type 2. You know, you're looking at someone who's probably constipated, if that's how your stool is looking. Ideally, we want to go for type 3, type 4. And in IBS, we have people who battle both with the constipation side, the type 1, type 2, as well as maybe type 6 and 7 down at the diarrhea. But we find predominantly people are more constipated generally.
Yeah, and so if you are experiencing that constipation and an irritable bowel syndrome, what would your advice be, especially to people that tend to want to use laxatives? Because that was quite a thing when I was growing up. Like, grandma would find any excuse every 3 months to be like, you've eaten too many sweets, and therefore your stomach is going to be feeling this way, so here, open up. Poof, there's a teaspoonful of laxative.
It tasted terrible.
It was just horrible, and I didn't have the logical mind to reason with and be like, the backbone.
Man.
But what would you say to that?
So laxatives for me is always a last resort. I think one has to always look at what is the underlying cause. You know, am I not eating the right foods? Certainly, am I not drinking enough liquids? I think I can't tell you how many people I've helped just by saying to them, increase your water intake between meals, and the stool becomes a lot better. So just simple little logic like that. Taking something like a herbal supplement, which is more gentle on the stomach, and just improves the gastric motility more naturally.
I think people, where it really does come to bear, it's the knock-on effect. And it's one thing to say that you're not regular or feel like something's not right, but then when you get to the more extreme physical repercussions of this, what are some of the dangers of persistent constipation in particular?
Yeah, and remember, Graham, we spoke in that first week about the red flags, didn't we? About IBS and red flags. So you always want to be aware that if there are things like unexplained weight loss or blood in the stool, fevers and those kinds of things, please check it out with your doctor. Absolutely, 100%. But I think at the end of the day, your body's an amazing, intuitive miracle, isn't it? And it just kind of always wants to bring things back into balance. So if your body's showing you that you're constipated, you're having IBS symptoms, there's a reason for it. Address those the cause behind it, and the symptoms should probably dissipate.
So number 1, drink more water. Number 2.
Oh no! Really?
Relief.
Had to happen.
Wow. Okay. So if you do find yourself suffering from IBS and some of the symptoms we've spoken about, and you are looking to seek relief, then of course ARTIGEST is a natural product available at all leading pharmacies nationwide. And of course, a little later on, we'll also be talking about the kind of foods and the diets that we can be incorporating into our daily lives in order to help our digestive system systems function more optimally.
Yeah,
Sean.
man. And speak to your pharmacist.
There
Speak
you
to
go.
your pharmacist. They are there to help.
Control the symptoms and feel the relief with ARTIGEST IBS. Brought to you by Relief Pharmaceuticals.